Hey, and welcome back to Soaring Profits Live. Today we have the wonderful Kate, Killer Kate, as Mike from Finding Fish. I don't know if you remember a long time ago, we had Finding Fish on here. He's the travel guy, wonderful man. Well, he introduced us to Killer Kate. Kate, back in 2017, saw a wedding photo of her. Her story and my story sound the same. So she saw a wedding photo of herself and realized that she was 300 pounds and maybe needed to make a change. So she lost 140 pounds. First trying all those diets that you try and you fail at. And I did the same thing, exactly the same thing. And then she found and dialed in what she wanted. She believes in hard work, not the easy way out. And I am down with that. Like, I work hard too. And, it's important that that if you want to do anything to change your life, it's hard work. And Kate really believes in that, and that's wonderful. She's a runner and she does all kinds of things to keep herself fit. And I encourage you to check out her Instagram that we have scrolling at the bottom, because let me tell you, I have watched some of her videos. I've been posting them on Instagram, our Instagram, all week. They're wonderful. They're encouraging. They're inspiring. I wish I had her joy. So this is Kate, and why don't you tell us a little bit about, your experience losing weight?
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for having me on, and thanks, Mike. I'm sure he'll watch this. Thanks, Mike. I'll see you at the gym in a couple days for sure.
Love it.
Um,
If
yeah,
he's not
so
in Cuba or Dominican or London or all
true.
the great places he travels to.
So true. Yeah,
Mm.
so my journey started, like you said. I went to a friend's wedding and I bought this new dress, and this dress was so cute. I thought, I thought I looked amazing. Anyway, my husband would, of course, say that I did. But when she sent the photo to us in like the thank you card, I had a oh my God moment. I had no idea really that I'd let it get that far out of control. Um, and I mean, I tried in the past. I did some kickboxing and some Muay Thai, and I was like, "Oh, that's okay. I work out. That's how you're healthy. That's what you do." And no, that didn't work, obviously. And then you think about all of like the fad diets, the magic pills, the magic shakes, all of these things that they're called fad diets for a reason. They don't work. They leave people often feeling kind of grumpy and miserable.
Yeah.
So I dialed into macros, and I would say I dove in head first. I joined a gym, kind of started from the bottom. I was someone who I had no idea, like, okay, calories, it was all foreign to me. So I started and just kind of went for it. And yeah, lost 140. I mean, you stop keeping count. We've talked about this,
Yeah.
James. You
Yeah. We
just
did.
stop.
Yeah.
Um, in about 18 months. And then since then, it's been a journey of maintenance, challenging myself, running. I've recently become a personal trainer and a fitness instructor and started up a small business to help others. And my Instagram, that kind of started as an accountability piece for myself. If I'm posting it and sharing what I'm doing and sharing my weight loss with others, then I'll keep doing it. And now it's kind of turned into a bit of a business pedestal, and then as well as still trying to inspire others to step out of their comfort zone and just try something new. Try something new.
Right. Yeah. No, lots to unpack there. So you mentioned macros. I don't know anything macros. What's that all about?
So when you think about calories is like a large umbrella. And then taking that one step further is when you dive into macros. So macros are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. And they are essentially what make up a calorie. So when we're obviously carbs and fats, they're the easy ones. They're the easy ones to eat and fill up on. But
Mhm.
when we really try and target the amounts of each that we're eating, we can make sure our body is in a fat loss stage instead of muscle loss. Water weight comes into play. But when we're really mindful about the macros, we can target fat loss, which is really and truly, that's what people want to lose. That's how to
Yeah.
be sustainable long term.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. Like, so I did mine was keto. So it's not the same, but it's similar. So I concentrated on the fat part of that equation. And my fat intake was very high, and it was healthy fats. I didn't do, like you said, there's all these fad diets. I can do drinks, I could do all these things. And I was like, no, I just want to eat normal, everyday food that doesn't come out of a package. I just, no chemicals, none of that. And and it was all about dialing in how much energy I need from my food and how much food I can take.
So
And
true.
there was at one point that because I was like starting to eat less, I started becoming less hungry. So I started eating too less. And then I started gaining weight, even though I wasn't eating enough. It was the weirdest thing. And then the research showed that, no, you have to eat the right amount. Otherwise your body tricks itself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And make you store fat. So you mentioned the weighing yourself. So for me, my weight loss thing has been, I talk about it all the time. It's mental, it's physical, and it's your soul. So the mental part of my weight loss was part of that was looking at this scale. Every day I looked at the scale, and every morning, same time, I looked at the scale. And if I gained 2 pounds, I was devastated. And, like you said, water weight, 2 pounds is nothing. You're going to lose that in seconds. But so I started becoming obsessed with the scale, and I started checking it throughout the day going, oh, I did something different. I can do it. And then that's why I quit the scale, because I was like, I don't even have a scale anymore. I got rid of it because it's every once in a while I'm tempted when I go to a friend's bathroom. But so what made you stop?
Same kind of thing. And I talk to people often about this.
My dog's coming in and out, and it's very distracting.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, like the scale is a great tool to an extent, and you have to know, I guess, and you have to figure it out as you go. If you get to that point like you were at, where the scale it's really screwing with you, then the scale needs to be pushed aside, and it's time to focus on other things. So some of the people that I've helped kind of transform their lifestyles, we talk a lot about the other measures of success. So yeah, sure, the scale, and like you said, water weight. I mean, you can take a big poop. Like there's so many things, right? Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So focusing on things like photos, which is something for me, looking back on the photos now, that I often try and will post some like side-by-side comparisons just to, I don't know, to see where I'm at even now.
Yeah.
But it's funny to go back and scroll and see how few photos I have of myself that's anything from the neck down. I was the queen of cropping them. Look, here's just my face. And I quite frankly have to, if I'm posting, I'm reposting the same photos because I only have maybe 5 of them because I just crop them out. Yeah. And I talk a lot about measurements because again, the scale is so relative and it changes so often. So if I'm starting to work with a client, I'll talk about measurements. So we have a weigh-in day where, yes, the weigh-in is important, but then we do measurements of like our, chest, shoulders, waist, thighs, kind of everything. Because that's where, when you think about clothes getting loose and you need to go shopping, that comes from the inches that you lose. So let's focus on that, and the fact that, oh my gosh, you've lost 6 inches. That's half a foot off of your body. Yeah, time to go shopping. The scale might not reflect that, but that's fine. Like, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, no, I found the same thing. The scale didn't reflect it. There were times where my pants were falling off, and yet I hadn't really lost any weight. But you firm up because you're gaining muscle, because you get this energy once you lose that kind of weight.
Yeah.
Like the energy that you get from losing over 100 plus pounds is unbelievable. Like, I can't sit still a lot of times anymore.
Yeah. And I think too often how I felt when I was pushing 300 pounds and how my feet hurt. I would go to work and I'd come home and I'd have to sit down. I'd have to like roll out of bed, and like everything just hurt. And miraculously, all of that went away.
All of it. Yeah, no, honest to God, like my back hurt, all that stuff. You're absolutely right. And you felt awful, and you got sicker than, like, now I get sick, but I don't get as sick as when I was overweight. And, you know, you can't be included in so many things. Like I talk about going to Wonderland with my kids when they're little. I couldn't go on the roller coaster with them.
Same.
I would sit down on the roller coaster and all these people in line would watch as I had to get off because I was too fat. And it was embarrassing at how it was like a big moment. My son was 20, I think. And he and I went to Wonderland together and we did every ride a million times because of this success. And that, like, those are the successes that I say to people, those are the things that you want to concentrate on. As long as you're healthy and happy in your mind, you got to get your mind in it because I don't know how you felt. So I lost a bunch of weight. I lost the 150, I think. It changes every time I say it. But when I lost the weight, I still wasn't happy. I still felt like I was that large person. It took me a long time to look in the mirror and be okay. It was a weird thing that, you know, and I was afraid that every time I put something in my mouth that I would just become that guy again. And it was hard to mitigate that. Did you find that?
I would say a little bit, and I think they call it like, I guess it kind of like body dysmorphia or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you look in the mirror and you still see that person, and while you're the same person, but you're not physically the same person.
Yeah.
And how you see that, and even today, I'll still have those days where I'll have like a negative mindset, and I'm like, oh, screw this, like. But then I just remember how far I've come, and I think about the people that I've inspired along the way, and I can so quickly just turn that around. And yeah, it's easy now, but it does happen for sure.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, no.
Talking about with James's journey, because I was kind of there firsthand and watching it, you know, and James is probably at his largest and then coming down. You know, we joke, and those of you that watch us here, we always talk about the shadow of James and, you know, where he is today and the journey that he's been on. But as far as the transformation of life, just the generality of choices that have led to all of this and where he is today, it's been a very impressive journey, to say the least. And it goes to every aspect of his life. Like, it was control. It was a self-control facet to be able to go, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to do this. And that has led to so many other successes. Like James, we talk about a lot with, so Kate, I don't know how much you've watched us before, but we have our group, Soaring Profits. We have the Profiteers, like, you know, like the Mickey Mouse Mouseketeers. So the Profiteers. And
now your husband is one of the Profiteers, just so he knows.
Okay,
what's
cool.
that, sorry? What was that?
Now her husband is one of the Profiteers.
Right. Yeah. That has to be. I don't see it either way. But yeah, so when we talk about James's journey and kind of coming from a third party, like looking at it and watching it, the difference, the confidence, just the air of persona that has changed over the last 4 years now?
Oh, no, it's more than that. I believe I was 2015, 16 is when I started losing weight. Yeah, because it was 2017 when I left Melanie and I'd already lost a lot of weight.
Right. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, just to see that control facet and where it goes. So have you seen anything like that in like your personal life and the changes? I'm sure that you're talking about your husband. Like all of a sudden he has, you know, this new human in front of him in 18 months. Right. That's pretty cool, right? So
Yeah.
like, what does that look like? What is he like? Obviously he's like, baby, you look fantastic. He was probably a good guy all the time. He's like, baby, you look fantastic all the time. But now it's like, maybe get a little butt slap a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe some eye candy on his arm.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and he talks about that all the time. And he's actually, I would say, like my biggest fan.
Love it.
That sounds so lame, but it's true. And on those days where I have like the negative mindset, he's the first one to be like, excuse me, like, please remember all that you've accomplished and how much you've done. But it's been hard. Like, there are days where I've had to say no to certain, I don't know, like events and things like that, because I know my goals. And yeah, it's been a mind bleep of a journey. You said this is on the internet forever, so I'll be careful.
Talk all the time. So
no, you're absolutely right. There are times when you have to say no because your goals get in the way. Like if you're in a running group or you're out kayaking and you're doing all these like physical activities.
Yeah.
I lost a few friends, not because we didn't get along well. It's just because I'd go over to the house and I'd just eat, or we'd watch TV, or we drink, or we do all these things that just put me in a negative light that I didn't enjoy anymore. And I tried to go, hey, let's go for a walk, or hey, how about we go for a hike instead today, instead of being here, or we'll go mini golfing. It doesn't matter. Just let's go somewhere else instead of eating a bag of chips and watching
priorities change. You change, your priorities change. And I think that it's normal for the people in your life to change. But I also bet that you've found a whole heck of a lot of new people who totally are who you are now. Like they're here for you now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is absolutely true. But you found the same thing, that you had to kind of move away, and it's too bad because they were great people. It's just
I think just
their temptation was holding you back, like holding you back.
And like we said, like the priorities change. Like it's hard. The recipe, like the math equation to lose weight and have these body transformations, that's easy. But it's hard work. There is a lot of work to do. The recipe is easy. Okay, you have to burn more calories than you ingest. That's fine and dandy, but no one should ever say that it's an easy journey.
Yeah. No, it's the waking up every day with a goal in mind, and maybe not even seeing, like there were weeks that I didn't see any change, any difference. There were weeks where I saw like huge amounts of change, and those were wonderful, but then you'd go through kind of in a remission. And there'd be weeks where you're like, why the hell am I doing this? And nothing's happening. And you just had to run through them and remember, like you're said, you have to remember that all the things you have accomplished up until this point is what you're doing. And then maybe you have to tweak something. So what was the thing that you, like for me, it was go to Wonderland with my son. What was that thing? There had to be a thing. Everyone has a thing that you were like, I have to do this as soon as others wait.
Yeah, definitely the photo of my friend's wedding. I did have definitely like a Wonderland moment. I even remember the ride, and I totally kind of faked it out like, oh, I think that I might barf on this ride. I should get off. See you at the exit kind of thing. But it was that picture. It's the purple dress, and I still have it.
Yeah.
I will keep it. I will keep that, and I'll keep like the pair of jeans that I wore. And sometimes I put it on and do like a fun photo, but yeah, you got to keep them to remember where you started.
That's funny. I did the opposite. I got rid of all of it as I was getting rid of it. And it was because I didn't want to ever go back. Yeah. And for me, it was like, as long as I had the clothes, I could go back to it. If I don't have the clothes, how do you go back? I'm not going to buy a whole other outfit. Anyway, that's amazing. So what are you working on now that you feel really passionate about?
So, everything. So I'm huge into running. I'm a half marathoner. I know you're working towards a marathon.
Oh,
yes.
No, I'm working towards a half marathon. I can't.
Oh, okay.
My biggest is like 17K today.
Nice. If you can run that, you can run a half marathon. If you can run 10K, you can run a half marathon. So I run a lot. I do like 21 kind of a half marathon every weekend for fun. That's what people say. Like, you're nuts for doing that for fun. I work out, like I ride the line of running versus like weightlifting. I just bleed both of them and I love them. So I kind of try and find the balance of still being able to do both and not like destroying my body. I do, now that I have a registered business, I run outdoor boot camp. So actually I just got home at 8 tonight. I do boot camps in the park near my house. I do training with one of our local rep hockey teams. So I do their off ice or dry land training for their upcoming season. I run transformation groups. So people join, like I advertise and people join groups and we learn like the macro lifestyle kind of from the ground up. I do personal training. This is something that I know that people talk about passion and I love my job. I love teaching, but this hits me in a different way. It really just, it fills my soul in a way that 300-pound Kate. Yeah, right.
Well, there's
Well,
something.
go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, there's something to be said there about finding something that you're passionate about and then educating about it, right? Like there's lots of people that can go and they can be a great hockey player. You're talking about the sports aspect. They can be a great hockey player. They can do whatever, but getting to that next level and passing that knowledge on that clearly you're enjoying, and if there's an opportunity there as far as a lucrative business, all of those things I think are fantastic. And you are your own business card in that business. And from what it sounds like, the transformation that you've achieved in your life, every time you're shaking hands or you're meeting somebody and you tell them about your journey and your passion about it, people go, oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
If you're a dude that has always been athletic, and when you're 22 years old, you decide that you want to be a personal trainer, you have no cognition of what the challenges are for somebody who's 35 years old, that's never been to a gym, never been super athletic, but has decided, I put that purple dress on and I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a huge asset that you have, that if you can, I talk a lot about business and monetization and that kind of thing. Right. And to be able to take your passion and pivot it over into something like that, it makes it easy. It makes it fun. And it makes it a whole lot more exciting to wake up and look forward to every morning when you're doing it. Right. So I think that's fantastic. That's very cool.
And that's something that, as I'm like working with people and meeting people, that's probably the most important thing. And again, something that just fills my soul so much is that they say, you're relatable.
Right.
Like I've been there. I've been the underdog. You walk into a gym and you see these like juice heads beside you. Like, what the heck? What do you do? How do you run? So that's something that people have said is, I'm relatable. I've been there. I've been through all of the struggles. I can relate to everything. And something that I talk about often is being comfortable, feeling uncomfortable. Because very quickly, as soon as we get that little yucky feeling, the butterflies, uncomfortable feeling in our tummies, we'll quickly make an excuse to get rid of it, right? And then it's gone away. But if we get used to feeling a little bit uncomfortable, maybe it's in our head, it's in our body the day after a workout kind of thing. If we get a little bit comfortable feeling uncomfortable, like the sky's the limit, man. The sky is the friggin' limit.
Oh, absolutely. Like I talk about routines. If you can get into a routine and you can get past, I always say 7 days, but I'm sure it's longer than that. But for me, it's 7 days. If you can get past 7 days of doing the same thing every day, it gets into a routine and you've done it. You've felt as bad as it can get. You've felt as good as it can get, and you've felt the successes. So if you can run on that success, you're going to keep on doing it, and you'll drive yourself forward. I remember getting back to the intimidating the butterfly thing. So I was not. I played some basketball and stuff when I was younger, but I wasn't very good because I've always been a big person. So I didn't really know like much about weightlifting, even though I did it when I was younger. I didn't know much about running. I didn't know much about anything. So every time I've gone into a new gym, every time I've gone into like something, like I did CrossFit for about 6 months until I injured myself too many times because I'm an old man. And so then I pivoted into running. But I remember when I first walked into CrossFit and everyone's lined up, everyone has all their equipment out, and I have no idea where to stand, let alone what equipment I need or what the equipment is. And they'll say like, go grab a blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, I don't know what that is, let alone how to lift it. And so you do that one class and, you're kind of watching, and the teacher was really good and they came over a lot and helped me. They were actually wonderful. But the butterflies that you feel just by the fact that everyone seems to get it but you. And everyone is like fit, and you just in your head, you're like, they've all been like this their whole life. Like it's so easy for them. And, everyone's watching me because you kind of get into your head. And that's why I say it's mind, body, and soul. You have to get your mental, you have to get out of your mind. No one cares about you. They're all working their head off. They're all sweating. They're killing themselves. They're in much pain as you did. And when they walked in, they felt like you. And people like I didn't get that. And I know people walk in not getting that. And that's part of the lesson, is that every new experience becomes an old experience if you just hold on. You stay there for a week. You do that 7 days. And by the end of 7 days, I was killing it. It was no problem at all until I kept hurting myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I really enjoy that aspect of what you're doing. I think when I first lost the weight, I was a bit of I I had a friend say I was just like a recovering addict because I'd come out and be like, "You gotta do this. It's amazing. You're incredible." You know, like all this stuff, and people would come up to me and go, "Oh, what happened?" and all this stuff, and I was like talking about it all the time till I felt like that's all I talked about, and I had to like back out and go, okay, that can't be just Jane. That can't be all I am is the guy who lost weight. Did you
Right.
find that when you first lost the weight that everyone just wanted to talk about that?
For sure. Yeah. And I think I'm someone who, when the attention is on me, it makes me uncomfortable. So I think I'm I'm very quick if someone says, "Oh my gosh, you look great." Like, "Okay, thanks, bye." Like, I'll try and just deflect kind of thing. I
Right.
guess that's just who I am. But yeah, like, and now if I see someone who I haven't seen since I was 300 pounds, one, they don't remember me looking that way. And even the people who I see every day who they know me now and they also knew me then, they still say, "You never looked at Kate and thought, man, she's 300 pounds." And I'm like, well, I was for sure. I can
Yeah.
promise you that.
It's
It
real.
was held
Yeah.
graciously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's wild. You know, when again watching James through his journey, and we've had a few people now that we've known that have also not quite to the extent of what you folks have done, but have really made impressive lifestyle changes. Their circle of friends, and that's what I was saying about your husband, right? Like your circle of friends, your support network, all these people are just kind of like, wow, holy shit! Like you guys are running 21K. Like, do you guys not have cars? What is wrong with you people? I don't understand that. Like to me as a guy, like I was always fairly athletic growing up. If coach said run, it was punishment. So and James and I've had these conversations like as an athlete growing up, when the coach was like run, it's like who fucked up? So now James, when he's telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm going for 10K today, and I just go, ugh. Trauma from my childhood. I just get tingles. I'm just like waiting for like someone to hit me in the back of a helmet. Like, what's going on here? But I think it's a fantastic thing, and it's something that we talk about James a lot in his journey. But listening to James and the way he is able to compartmentalize a lot of the issues and emotions that are going on in his life when he goes out on his runs. And for you folks that watch us, you guys go on those runs sometimes with James, right? And being able to have that clarity, that mental and emotional clarity that goes along with that, right? And that it's been awesome to watch him for sure.
I often say that when I'm out running, it's something that I do for the most part by myself. Everyone always says, "Oh, join the running group, join the running group." I'm like, that's great for especially safety, of course, but I run by myself and I always feel when I get home, I've solved all the world's problems. Like, just put me in a chair and everything will be solved. It's fine. I can control everything. But just that time, like you said, mental clarity, get out there. And sometimes it's a workout. You just get out there, you put headphones in, and just nothing else matters. Yeah.
It's almost like you need a podcast when you get back. You just, talk about solving, right? So,
but it's hard to write notes down because I often think, oh, there's a post I need to make. There's a post I need to make, but I'm running. I can't get my phone out right now.
right.
Yeah. No, I totally get that because there's been times when I'm like, I'm going to forget that idea. So then I just stay with that idea in a box and then I fill it right out and I just roll it through my mind. Oh, then I could say this, then I could do that. And I work it all out. And before I'm even done my run, sometimes I'll just like videotape it because I'm like, I have to get this out of my head. Yeah. And I want the profiteers to hear it because I think it's important, But the clarity, like not only the clarity, it's a euphoric feeling after you finish running. Your energy, like it's the weirdest thing. You run 10K, you're sweaty, you're like you've exerted so much energy, but you're on a high. Like
you clean the house.
And I can clean the house. I do the dishes, put it in the garbage. I can do a million things. It's just a different experience. You're so exhilarated. I remember driving by people who ran in the rain and the snow and making fun of them. Now I'm that guy. Because if I don't run, I just feel bad that day. It's not because I didn't run. It's because mentally I haven't gone through it. I haven't had that moment of that meditation that running gives me. Like, are you finding the same way thing?
Absolutely. And I think I tell people this all the time. The hardest part is just getting there. The hardest part is getting out the door. It's driving to the gym. And those are all moments where you could just turn around and go. But you have to know, we feel better and amazing after we do it. So
Yeah.
as soon as you're there, it's fine. Like I tell people when they arrive to my boot camp, they're like, "Oh, I almost didn't come." And I said, "But you're here. You've already done the hard part. The rest is easy. You'll feel amazing after it. You'll be so proud. Like it's amazing." And it's about cutting the shit too, right? Like you have goals. It's time to cut the crap and kind of excuses are easy. So
Yeah.
when we make the excuses, then we're not going to see the results that we want to see. So really prioritizing things. I saw a graphic recently that I think it said a 1 hour workout takes 4% of your day or something like that. And you think about the time that, I don't know, you spend, I don't know, watching TV or something.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take much. And I'm someone who works out first thing in the morning. Like when I'm back to work, school, teaching, I go to the gym at 4 a.m. so that I don't have to go after work when it's busy.
Yeah.
And that's just, I get up and I go, and it's good.
Sorry,
Yeah. No. Good.
Kate, you were saying that you were at 4 a.m.
Yes.
Wow. See, this guy here's the same way. Like he is rocking and rolling up at the crack of sunset.
There's no excuses at 4 a.m. There's no excuses.
Nothing.
And you think about, we're all busy people and everyone's busy and our lives are packed so full of stuff. It's not about if the day's going to get away with you and get away from you and you miss your workout. It's when it happens. So when you get it done in the morning, it's done. And then when the day goes to crap there later on, then it's fine. I already worked out. It's fine.
There's no excuses at 4 a.m. You can't wake up and say, I'm too tired. Well, you just had to sleep. You can't wake up, I'm too stressed from work. You can't wake up and say, I ate too much at lunch. None of that happens. You
Yeah.
just wake up and you're like, I guess I'm doing this, and it's habit forming. You actually wake up excited to do these things.
Absolutely.
It's the weirdest change. It's enjoyable. And it just affects your mood. You feel better about yourself, but you also feel better about the world. You become more of a sunshiny person because you're trying to share that joy and happiness. I love what you're doing with your I guess clients is the word I'm going to use. I told you I forget words. I love that you say that the hard part is getting there, because you're absolutely right. That is the hardest part of any workout, because you feel great during, because you end up, especially when you're in boot camp. Like I did a boot camp for a while and I loved it because of the people, because you start joking around, you're sharing in the mutual workout, the mutual sweat. Everyone's encouraging, everyone's like, you got this, and it's a beautiful thing. And once you're there, you don't even notice you're working out in boot camp. Like it's probably the hardest things I have ever done. Like when I first started, because that was one of the first classes I joined. It was one of the hardest things I ever did, but also the easiest, because the joyfulness of all these people in a shared experience. And then you made friends, and at the end, you felt amazing and you were ready to go do other things. The timing, I was talking to a friend and they said, I don't know how I had time to run every day. And I said, well, how much Netflix did you watch today? There's your time.
Yeah.
Don't watch Netflix. What's Netflix? And Pat says all the time, he doesn't even have Netflix. What's Netflix giving you? So he does it in a monetary way. Like, right, Pat? You say,
yeah. So my deal is that like the hour and a half you sit down and you watch a movie, right? And you waste that time, and you've seen all the episodes of The Office and you can quote your favorite guy. Like I spend that time dedicating my financial future, right? And I'm a slightly different, I think, than in the situation that you guys found you're in. I've always been fairly athletic and that. It's come kind of naturally to me. So I haven't had to necessarily work at it. I should, but I haven't necessarily had to work at it so much. Right. But then like for me, I do a lot of trading. I trade the markets, my real estate business, that sort of thing. So for me to sit down and throw on The Office and just melt into a couch for 4 or 5 hours for the night, that's a lot of wasted opportunity time. And what is that value over a week? What is that value over a month? What is that value over a year, lifetime, all of those things? And I've seen a few posts, and I think it hits really home is the fact that it's not the $16 a month. It's what's your time worth.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the point that I think a lot of people struggle with when they get really focused on having the social media presence or engaging with the social media presence is what is that time worth? What education aspect? And I think those of you that follow us and know what we're talking about here is that James and I do a shit ton of research for the stupid little podcast that we do. Right? Like it's funny, like we talk about politics, but we talk about it from like 9 different angles. Like last night we did a live and we were talking about the Trump scenario. We were talking about China, what that's going to look like if they invade Taiwan. We're talking about wheat prices. We're talking about if the price of gas goes to $100 a barrel again, that doesn't just happen. Oh. And it's the same as the workout thing. It takes that little bit of effort. I do it because I trade the market anyways. That's interesting to me. But on the body image and the feeling and that emotional stability side of it, it's super important to do it if you're going to make that leap, right? Invest.
Yeah.
So
effort is the perfect word to use. Like I think if you're going to put effort into it, then you'll see the results you want. But if you don't put a lot of effort into it, you're not good. It's an effort-based business, transforming your body.
I like it. There's the tagline, and we know where we're ending now, James.
Effort. No, you're absolutely right. I think effort is a big thing, but I also think it's routine. Effort and routine, it's like a link together. Like you have to put in the effort, but once you get the routine, the effort kind of goes aside. I don't like when I go to run now. I don't think about effort. It's not like I'm fighting myself to run. Or when I go work out, it's not like I'm fighting myself to work out anymore because that's just part of my routine. That's what I do at that time of the day.
Yeah.
I watch a motivational movie. It's one of the first things I do every morning. I watch a motivational movie, and then I kind of write a little poem and stuff like that I post on the internet that Soaring Profits doesn't get to see it, but my friends do. And it's inspirational.
It's magical.
But that's
I'm serious. So I am not the touchy-feely guy in this podcast at all. Like I'm like, yeah, it's bullshit. Right. James, you know what? Like in so many ways, like he's really through this whole process has really kind of like transformed his whole being. Like your poetry is really good. Like every once in a while, like again, not the guy that is always touchy-feely. In fact, I'm usually a hard-ass prick. But when James comes out and he's like just emptying first thing in the morning, this emotional, whatever you want to call it, just onto the page, it's like that is uniquely human at 4:00 in the morning before he's going to go get chased by a black bear running through the north end of Peterborough. That's my problem. If I run in the West End, we keep having bear sightings. I could just never.
Careful. I live near downtown. Let me tell you what I have to worry about.
Yeah, so that's a whole other podcast we have. What do you have to worry about downtown? We've talked about this. Let's hear your side of it. What's going on downtown?
Well, okay. I like to say I'm south ender. Okay, so I'm a south ender that is pretty. We're teetering on the edge of downtown. We live on a lovely, lovely, nice street, but we live in between 2 different hoods. The one hood has been in the news recently for a couple shooties. Yes. But yeah.
Well, Kate, you know what? It's something that we talk about. I don't know if you're a local, if you were born and raised here or not specifically, but like I grew up here and watching this town and especially over COVID, we've talked a lot about it, but like the de-evolution of the downtown, the devolving of almost humanity in such a weird way in this town has been wild. And my real estate business, investing in real estate, I own a few properties in town. The rental pools, the tenants that come in and are looking for, we're trying to find good tenants. And what does that even mean anymore? Right. It's a very interesting time to be alive in our town. And I don't know what your viewpoint is on the leadership and the mayoral stuff that right around the corner. Right. But it's put us in a very odd situation politically.
Yeah.
When your mayor kind of steps down half-assed a year ago. So it's it's a very.
So when I came in 1992, one of the reasons I fell in love with Peterborough, it was the hub for music and art. Like on the street, every corner, there was a busker, and they weren't like an average busker. They were buskers that I've never seen. They would have been on YouTube nonstop, being shared and liked by the millions. These were like above average singers. Some of the people who were here have moved on to actual careers in music. The art that they used to have art shows, and I don't remember a bar that didn't have live music. But now downtown, I don't feel like anyone even wants to be there anymore. Like there is no. Have you seen a musician in the last 4 or 5 years?
They'd get robbed. They'd be beaten up for their guitar and robbed for the money that they had. No, it's a shithole right now. And I'm really hoping that something pivots. But yeah, like I own a few properties in the downtown core. And, you know, even after the storm and you know, we had some devastation for those of you that aren't in the area, kind of like that. We had a pretty bad storm that came through this area. And I had some property damage with the like fences and that kind of deal. And like when you have that and you go to your fence that's being, you know, it's laying over and there's like a homeless guy underneath your fence that's now made it home.
It's a home.
What the fuck? It's been down 24 hours. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I think about it a lot from just like the safety perspective in running. It's unfortunate that some of the really amazing paths and running areas in the city are scary places to be, you know, and as a runner who often will run alone, I try and like I have my GPS on my phone. My husband can always see where I am. I always tell him where I'm going, and I only wear one headphone because God knows we need music. So I wear one to try and be alert. But I'm not going to lie, there have been times where I'm running through a path and I'm just trucking along and I'm like, oh, there's a big stick. If I need to defend myself, I could grab that stick, or, hey, look at that. Or like you turn a back and it's a squirrel. Like it's unfortunate that you have to think about those things. And as someone who I'm up crazy early in the morning, there are days where I would love to run outside, but if it's dark out, no thanks. I'll go and like drive myself crazy on the treadmill, just because it's not worth the feeling looking over your shoulder all the time in the dark, where actually there's streetlights. So it's not really dark, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
Now, so I just want to take a moment, Pat. Sorry. I just want to take a moment. Like I'm not, Pat's not, I am sure the lovely Kate is not anti-homeless people. We know that they suffer from mental health. We know they struggle. We know they have a tough time and they've fallen on hard times. And
there's a mental health worker listening to this.
Perfect. So I have found, and in Peterborough, in the city that we live in, especially, and I think in other towns, our mental health has been failing. Like what happens usually in my experience is they're taken to the hospital, they're held for 24 hours. They convince the person that, they convince the doctors that they're okay now because they're no longer on whatever drugs, and they're set free with like pamphlets, and you need to see a counselor, which you can't see a counselor, even if you wanted to. There's a huge waiting list, and you don't have a residence, and you don't have any way to access it, and you don't have any way to do anything. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, they go through an episode again, and then they're back. And it's just a revolving door. And unfortunately for them, they have nothing but fentanyl and all the other drugs. I don't know a lot of the drugs, but fentanyl and those drugs. I think fentanyl is our big city drug here. I don't know.
Well, now that you've done your liberal disclaimer bullshit, let's get back down to like hard facts. Is that I don't think tax-paying citizens should have to fear about running in the morning. That's a problem. So like I appreciate where you're coming from, man, and I love you. And this goes back to what we do here with Soaring Profits is the fact that we can have these dialogues. We can diametrically be opposed on this. And maybe I won't hug you tomorrow, but like maybe a high five. right? Like, well, we can
Okay.
just be buddies. But
It
like,
depends on the poem. It depends on the poem in the morning.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll poem about it tomorrow.
Yeah, but I don't think Kate, as you know, a citizen of this community, should have to be worried about whether, you know, fuck, I'm just not going to do it this morning because of that, because of somebody else's mental illness. Like, that's a problem to me, and that's a systemic issue that is not a magic wand that we're going to put money into it. And Kate, we had last Thursday night, we had a housing authority staff, from out of town. And we brought them on here and we're talking about some of the homeless issues that we were facing here in Peterborough. And James was he said to me afterwards, he's like, well, you were kind of nice. And I'm like, yeah, because like I think she does God's work. Like, she does fantastic stuff. The fucking system is just broken. Like, it's not her. Like, I'm not going to attack her about the stupidity of what we do and the funding models that we use. It's broken. She's lovely. She's dealing face to face with these very, very pained people. It's not her fault. It's just the system, the box that we're playing in. The sandbox is full of cat shit. Let's break it, right? Like, I don't know. So that's where, you know, James, I appreciate your please don't cancel us, we like homeless people rant. But fuck, that's my rant now.
Yeah. All I'm saying is we come from the same place. We do think that we come from different sides of how we should solve the problem. But Kate and you are both right. We should be able to run at 4 a.m. We should be able to run anytime. We shouldn't have to worry about it. And it's too bad that you do. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, so do you think that there's a solution, Kate?
No.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. For now, it's just go and run on the treadmill because it's not worth my life, and I'm not gonna run with a weapon.
No.
Yeah.
And it happens. Like, you're running and they'll come up and like say things to you. Like, I've had it, and I'm a giant man, so I can't imagine what a woman would go through. Like, it's weird. Like, I've been solicited by hookers while running through a park. It's like, it's such an odd time.
That's by choice. You're very specific neighborhood.
When stuff like that. I didn't hear what you said, Pat.
You're very specific in your neighborhoods to be running, not normal running routes into the hookers area. So I'm just wondering what you might be. Are you like dabbling in that neighborhood per se? So was that the car broke down? Was that the excuse one time? The car.
I might have been the car broke down. No, it's just part of my routes. Because the longer your route, like you'd be surprised how far 10K is. And I
know I have a car. Yeah, I get it. It's magical though. Two of you guys would just be fucking blown away. Like, just hit a pedal and you get there. Like, what's it take you guys to run 10K? Because I can do it in about like 2 minutes.
Oh, you go first, James.
I'd be over an hour, like an hour or something. Yeah. I'm about between a 5 and 6:30.
Nice. Yeah. I did a 10K race a few weeks ago, and I was mad at myself again, things that happen along the journey, but I did 56 minutes and I wanted 52, and anyway.
56 is amazing. That's incredible. Good for you.
I know, but when you go in thinking that you feel great, and then just, I don't know, I tried to blame my shoes, but I guess I just didn't have it that day. But it's fine. I still got a medal.
There you go.
Yeah. No, you still get the medal at the end for sure. No, I get that. Like, you put a goal in, and sometimes we pick unrealistic goals, especially when you get to this state where it's like everything seems a little bit easier, you know, and you don't really know your limitations yet. And so you keep on pushing harder and harder and harder. And then you hit the wall and you're like, oh, there's the wall.
Yeah. And
sometimes that can be really frustrating because you're hoping that there isn't a wall. And running is one of those things. I feel the same way. Like, so I did a 5K and a 10K. I did the 5K, no problem at all. I got an amazing time. In fact, like the personal best, I can't even match it. And then I did a 10K, and it was like, I don't know, 106 out in the Sierra Desert.
Yes.
Killed it the first 5K because I'm dumb. And then the second 5K, like my last 2 kilometers, I believe were a 10-minute kilometer. Like, I was barely moving. I was dehydrated. And it was all because I didn't know what I was doing and I was pushing myself too hard.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you really do have to know what you're doing when
It's
you
almost
run.
like you need a trainer. It's almost like you need a trainer, man.
If only I knew a trainer.
Right. Yeah.
Well, out there. If you know a trainer, please message us. Let us know.
Yeah.
If there's a trainer. And I'm going to just check to see if we have a message. This is my first message. So, Joshua Adams.
I know him. He's downstairs.
Huge fan.
Huge fan. Huge. He's huge. Is he a Trump fan? Because he's using the huge.
There you go.
Is that what he said? What does his message say? I can't see it.
I'm listening now. I'm listening now. Huge fan.
Oh, good one. Oh, there, I see it now. Oh, thanks, honey.
See that. That's awesome.
Yeah, the tech guy over here solved it.
No, I just wanted to see if there's any messages. No, you know what? You're killing it. I love it. I love everything about it, Kate. That's great. So is there anything so I have my my giant goals, my small goals, and like tomorrow I make a list of goals. So I do have a huge goal. I have a goal for Soaring Profits, and I'm not going to share. I've shared it with Pat. Pat and I discuss it all the time. He thinks I'm nuts. But I got him here. I got him here in front of this camera. It took me 3 years. So I got him here. I'll get him the rest of the way. What is your major goal for the future? What do you think? Where are you going from here?
So I am a firm believer that yes, have the big goal, but a big goal is made up, like you said, of the tiny goals. And those tiny goals are what keep you moving, keep you fresh, keep you motivated. I would like to grow this business, Patrick, into an empire, really and truly. I want to I'm going to say continue to inspire people, but like more people. I want to help everyone realize that it's a simple formula that takes work, and it is absolutely possible to be the underdog and have amazing results if you just put a little bit of effort in. I want everything for this. I want my own home gym with like big training space. Yeah. Everything.
Okay, so now because you said my name, I'm going to push with you a little bit here. And these are things that I talk about with a lot of people.
Oh, you unleash the beast.
Yeah. I get in my running room here. So, but this is what I talk to people when they talk about this is that, okay, so when you're starting a business, the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well because it's something we're passionate about. And there's a book, it's called The E-Myth, and it's the Entrepreneurial Myth. And it talks about this woman who starts a bakery, right? And what it is that she starts the bakery because everyone says that she has the best pies. She makes the best pies in the world. And everyone's like, man, Kate, your pies are fantastic, right? Your pies are you should make a business out of this doing the pie thing. And she's making pies and she goes, fuck it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump headlong into it. And then when she jumps into this, and this is the crux of the book, is that when you jump into the business methodology, you're not a pie maker anymore. You're a businesswoman. And that's a huge step from baking pies in your kitchen to becoming an entrepreneur. And that's where I love having these conversations with people because you find out really quickly the things that they're passionate about. Are they able to take them to the next level? Because they're like, yeah, I'm working on trying to figure out a business model. Yes, I'm working on trying to figure out where I'm going to make money from this, what my revenue streams are going to be, how I'm going to be able to put these next steps going. And that's what I challenge everybody with when they're talking about starting a business, whether it's, a personal training thing or whether it's you want to open we're going to have a guest on here the next little while where she took a chip truck at a beach and she's turned it into a $3 million a year market.
Wow.
Like fresh foods, all these sorts of things, very local, because she built a community. She went from I'm selling chips at a chip truck to I created an entire identity around herself. And she is fantastic, super powerful woman, and is a fantastic entrepreneur. But that's going from I love baking pies to now I need staff. Now I'm an accountant. Now I'm in HR. Now I'm in management. And all of those are very separate skills. And they have to come together to be successful. So my first question back to you after that little piece, what's your ASAR policy? No. But how do you take your business? Because this is now your passion. Okay. And how do you build a model that is, like you were talking about, building and growing, franchisable or developmental or growable and that sort of thing? What is your, and the word in business is point of differentiation, right? What is the point of differentiation between, Kate Tom's Fit and Helen Smith Fit, right?
I would say because I've been there. Like the average trainer, the people that you see around, they've always been fit. And like you said, yes, it takes work for anyone to stay fit.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain difference between me and my journey and like James, you, that sets us apart from someone else. And not saying that my business would never, ever see someone who is fit, because that's all a part of the process too. But I think from the ground up are those people who I can relate to, and I can empathize and sympathize with those hard times that they want to just give up and say, screw it. Like I know the feeling.
You're exactly right. And that's where, it's funny because we always say that after we kind of sign off from the lives, we usually have about a 5-minute little chat afterwards, and we get into like some of the really hard questions.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, James is like, we got to film this stuff, right? But this is where the people that we've had on before that are talking about entrepreneurial stuff, it's where I start grilling them. I'm like, where are you on this? Like, what do you want to do about that? Like, what's your next move? And you handled that question perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
That is your point of differentiation. Your point of differentiation from Gold's Gym or, Good Life Now and all those sorts of things is a warming feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And your story is going to allow that. Now, as you develop that, as you build that out and flesh that out, that's where I think, and hey, what do I know? I'm not in the fitness business, but I think that's where you're going to be able to drive a differentiated clientele that's willing to pay a little bit more for acceptance than the $70 a month Good Life membership where they go, fuck this, I don't look like these people, I'm out.
Yeah, so true.
And that's where I think you have a huge opportunity. And with your story, you Kate, you've done fantastic here tonight. When you first came on here, you're like, well, I'm a little bit nervous. You've done fantastic. And to me, that's an ability to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Right. So take that. That has value. Your
you.
clients see that and have value in that. So now it's about telling your story, getting your message out, and creating your brand, which, while you're here with us, you're doing all the right things, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like after today, your Instagram is going to go off.
I think it is right now. It's beside me and it's just lighting up.
Tens of followers.
Our profiteers are like active in the community, and they're very so I agree with Pat. Everything you just said, like that is your differential in your business. I think it's lovely. I really find the people that I talk to or the people that I help, not on the level that you are, I'm not even comparing it. It's about breaking it down into like usable chunks that's understandable, because it's very easy to say it's too hard because it's overwhelming. But if you can break down the reasons why something is overwhelming and you can lay out a map, these are the reasons that you're overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that you can face. These aren't, like I always say, fear is not real. Fear is something that you create in your mind. It's an illusion. And as long as you can walk with fear, you're going to get to the other side of it and you're going to see. Will Smith does this great thing. And I know Will Smith isn't.
Are we allowed to talk about him?
He made a mistake. Whatever. Get over it. The guy is like, I think he's a guru. He's very smart. He does a lot of great videos. He made a mistake. Everyone's human. He's gone through a lot of bad things too.
He's got great.
But he talks about when he was going to go skydiving, and he talks about the fear of skydiving. And it's this great video. Go search it. It's amazing. He tells the story way better than me. And he spends all day with his family at dinner, all night trying to sleep, all morning, terrified. And then he realizes the moment that he should have been scared is when he was standing at the edge of the plane and jumping out. And that was the moment that he had the most joy. So he wasted a whole day being afraid that would have stopped him from that moment of joy. when the fear wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I talk about this stuff. Your doubt, your worry that you're not enough, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
You are enough. There isn't a person out there. I didn't do anything special, right? And I'm sorry, Kate, you didn't do anything special.
It's so true. It's so
Right?
true.
Yeah. No, like, how do you feel about it? Kate
Sorry,
is
I'm just seeing my friend commented there.
You can cry on this show. It's all right.
Sorry, can you ask your question again? She distracted me.
So what I was asking is, like, we're not, like, I was saying that, you know, I'm sorry that you're not special. I'm not special. That anyone can do this. And I think that's the flaw. I get a lot of people, or I used to, maybe not as much anymore, saying that I was special and that, oh my God, I can't believe you did all this. And I'm like, it's not special. It's just that I controlled my mind, I controlled my body, and I controlled my soul.
And you
And as long
committed
as
to yourself. You committed to you. You were ready to face it head on. And I think, again, something that sets you and I apart from a lot of people are we lost the weight years ago now.
yeah,
That's a part of our story, but that's not our story now.
right,
Right now, our story is the fact that, hey, we've not gone back to where we were.
right,
We're living this now in a new phase of maintenance that is it's the lifestyle. It's not about a diet that has an end date. It's a journey for life. It's a lifelong thing. It's not a diet. It's just the way that we live now.
no, it's mindful eating is one of my keys. And I talk about that. You have to be present when you eat. Stop watching TV when you're eating. Get rid of your phone when you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what you're eating. We spend so much time, and I used to do it all the time. I'd be sitting watching a movie and I'd eat a bag of chips. And I would get to the bottom and I start feeling because I didn't even know I ate them. And I'd be like, oh, well, now I need a peanut butter sandwich because I wasn't mindful of it, you know? But if you, every time you eat, don't eat while you're watching a movie. Don't eat while you're doing anything. If you want to eat something, go eat something, but make sure you're sitting at a table. You can have a conversation with someone, but know that you're eating it. It helps your mind because your mind knows that you're eating. So it satiates you a little bit and it tells your stomach that you're full and all that. It's a whole different thing. And you really have to do it. You know, I don't know, like so that was like part of the mental thing for me. And then the physical was, like you said, not like having different goals, like having different measurables, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes the hardest conversations to have are the ones we have to have with ourselves. You know, we can talk here and we can talk about the journeys, and we can talk and I can preach my programs to other people. But sometimes the conversations that we have to have with ourselves about our life, our choices, our priorities, those are the hardest ones to have. And I think that's why people don't have them. And that's why people just stay right where they are, right in what's comfortable and what's normal. Because sometimes when you look in at your reflection in the mirror and not saying the physical one, but that mental one that's a lot to overcome. But once you do, man, it's you're sailing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I talk about the mental game of this, and the mental game is you have to find the reason that your mind is convinced that you need to eat. There is a reason. So for me, it was depression. Every time I was depressed, I ate, and I ate a lot. So I was depressed a lot. I was depressed for a long, long time, and I ate a lot, and I was a big person. Yeah. And so when I started losing weight, I still got depressed. So I still had that urge to eat, and I had to replace it. And running replaced it. And you got to change like I said, you have to change your routines. If your routine is every time I'm depressed or every time I'm upset, I go have a cigarette or I go eat, then that's all you're ever going to do. But if you can go, okay, I'm not, like, you walk towards the fridge and you go, no, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk instead. You know, the dog's sitting there. I'm going to go for a walk and do that. It's life changing.
And you learn a lot about your body and yourself too. Times where you would have eaten because you thought you were hungry, you're likely not actually hungry at all. Like, it's just learning those cues if your tummy makes a little sound, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're hungry and you have to go and eat a bag of chips to fill it. That's it,
Yeah.
really recognizing your body. And that's something that I find since, well, over the last 5 years is I am so aware of my body and my body's cues and how it's feeling. You know, I used to wake up and just live with the fact that I had really terrible feet and I could barely walk up a flight of stairs. But now I'm so aware of, well, usually how amazing I feel that it's, yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a whole different mindset, waking up and leaping out of bed because you're not hurting and, ready to face the world. And I don't remember what I was going to say, but I had this great plan on where I was going to take this conversation, but I lost
Good thing I'm here to piggyback.
That's a good thing. Give me a second. You go ahead, Pat.
Yeah. So my question, Kate, there, and then I think we'll try to give James time to get his foot out of his mouth there. But right. So obviously, the first question is that if somebody wants to reach out to you, the best way to do that for you is through like your social media stuff right now.
Yes, and I also have a website.
Awesome.
Very exciting. So so my Instagram is at kateltoms.fit.
Okay.
And my website is kateltomsfit.ca. So my social media talks a lot about my journey, and I that's how I've inspired people, obviously,
Right.
but it's a lot about me. And obviously that's where I do a lot of advertising because that's where I feel the most seen. But my website has some of the programs that I offer, the one-on-one stuff, the group challenges. I have a group challenge that's starting September 2nd. So we will build this lifestyle from the ground up over 8 weeks. And I can't wait to see the progress that people have and the aha moments that they have. Instagram and my website.
What would the group challenge look like? They show up.
So they show up. So it's all virtual. Oh,
Nice.
hey, there I am. Yeah, so it's a virtual group program. So it's all done through social media. We have a private group that I tell people when to cook, what to expect. I kind of give like the Cole's Notes version of macros and how to make it work in everyone's individual life. Because again, if it doesn't work in your life, it'll be the first thing that goes. So I do a lot of live videos in the group challenges that's right in my kitchen. So here's the food that I'm prepping for the week, and here's how I do it. Here's what foods that make me feel the best. I write menus for people. I do write workouts for them. But again, something that I try and preach to people is number one needs to be food. Number two should probably be water intake. And then number three can be exercise. But there's some more important things than just hitting the gym.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Water is super important. I just did like a 7-day, because I told you I'm a 7-day guy. I did a 7-day keto journey, kind of explaining what I went through and videotaped each day. And so you're absolutely right. The meal part was important. And I showed the meal part how to cook, but every day I talked about, let's work on your mental.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important. That's what's going to get you through. This food, you can do this diet, you can do the macro diet, you can do any diet. None of it will be successful until you mentally prepare yourself. I talk about points of impact. So for you, your point of impact was your dress. You saw yourself, you didn't like what you saw. My point of impact is very personal, but it was a moment of depression and a lot of things happened. But when you have that point of impact, you have to act. And I always say, so what happens is you have your point of impact, and then you sit with it and you don't act. And then that point of impact just disappears. You don't even think about it. But you saw your point of impact, which was the dress, and you acted upon it right away. You don't wait. Like I tell them, you hit that point of impact. That was one of the discussions I had. You hit that point of impact. If it's, I'm going to go to the gym starting today, then call the gym right now.
Yeah.
Like your number you should be dialing it right now. You should be calling Kate right now. Get on that website right now. Dial in, send money. Soaring Profits. I know, like that's just it. When you get these point of impacts, that's very important. And then commitment to like yourself and the people around you. You want to live a long time for your kids. Find that goal. Your goal is not, I want to look thin for my husband. I want to look thin for the people around me. I want to look, those are not goals. And those are the goals that I had every diet I ever had. It wasn't until I said, I want to see my grandkids and I want to be able to run with them.
I actually feel like I maybe have another point of impact, just kind of, I'll share another story. It's about that same picture, again, because I have to reshare that picture because I don't have a lot of other pictures.
Right.
I remember this day, it was the day that I found my wedding dress, and I was out shopping with my very best friend, and I posted a comparison, and I had like the tagline beside that purple dress photo as that photo. And then I got a terrible message. There was a major troll out there shaming me for saying that photo. And just, I feel like she went like attack mode. So one, what a terrible thing to be dealing with as you're trying on your wedding dress, crying because I found the dress, but then also crying because this lady's being mean to me. So point of impact being, I feel like that actually kind of fueled me, whereas a lot of people it would hurt them. But man, I'm like, it's okay that I feel that way about myself. Maybe that person doesn't, and maybe that person is fine, and that person should embrace the body that they're in. But it's okay that I had that moment, and it's okay that I changed that. It's about kindness, right? Like, love who you are, but it's also okay to want to change who you are.
Yeah. And work to be better, like to thrive. And I don't understand people. And again, I come into contact with all kinds of different people just in my daily life, as everyone does. But there's a huge difference and there's a gapping, I think, socially. Like I knew a lot of, people from town here that they were just really cool as long as they had a case of beer in the fridge and they were happy. And maybe it's a generational thing, but they never wanted to thrive or strive or push themselves to that next level. And, I'm 35 years old. I now look at those people and I kind of look like way back in the rearview mirror. And I'm kind of like, dude, you had it all. You're a good athlete. You're a good looking guy. You're competent. You're confident. You're all those sorts of things. And it's like, you just settled. You settled for just that one moment in time where you got comfortable and that was it. And I think you guys, like James, I can speak to really personally because he's a very good friend of mine. Kate, but it sounds like, you found your comfort becoming a problem and then you broke it and you went out and made something that's really beautiful. I was showing there, I was going to brag about my tech savviness there for a minute. James is probably like shitting himself. Like, where did this guy come from?
Couldn't even believe it.
But now with that being said, I was on your Instagram page for probably 2 or 3 minutes before I realized you guys couldn't see it. So I'm like, fuck, let's do this again, right? So anyways, that's the stuff that you have there's fantastic. Clearly, you know what you're talking about. And I think that the passion that you bring to it, but more importantly, your personal story and your ability to communicate well, like you've done fantastically here with us tonight. That's gonna be a huge thing for you going forward. And I personally wish you all the success in the world. And I think you're gonna do very well for yourself and for your clients, the people that, really at the end of the day, if you can't do something for them, you're not gonna be in business long. So I think that's gonna be awesome.
The amazing joy that you get from helping someone like just reach their own potential is incredible. And I know you can do that. And obviously I've been told you could do that. And I encourage people, like I've gone through a similar journey and I've listened to Kate here teach it and talk about it. She knows what she's talking about. And if you can get a personal touch with someone who's been through it, it's just so much easier. You can go to them and talk about that mental problems that you're having. You can talk about how your soul is crushed maybe that day and reach out and go, you know what, Kate, I need some help. And she'll be there. I can feel this coming from her. Yeah. So get out there, try it out, and I think you got a really good business, Kate. I really look forward to seeing what it becomes. we'll
Thank
follow
you.
you here on Soaring Profits. Maybe we'll have you come back on. We've had one or two come back, and we'd love to hear from you, and see, like, even if you brought on someone who you were successful with, that would be cool too. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love that. I have some people. Oh, yes. I already have those people in my head. Yes.
That's so cool. That would be fun.
Well, folks, I think we're getting to that time of night. We're just past that hour mark where YouTube stops liking us anymore anyway. So, Kate, first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming on here. It takes a little bit of bravery to come on and do these sorts of things. I appreciate that you brought the cheering squad as well. That was fantastic. But you did fantastic tonight. Again, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. And the fact that you're out here in this community really touching people's lives and making a difference, I think is awesome. And I think those stories we all too often don't hear about in our community. And if there's any way that we can help get that word out, that what you're doing and your people are doing, I love it. That's what we're here to do. So thank you again. And so at the end of all of these conversations,
now we put you on the spot.
Yeah, but it gets really real now.
Yeah.
So at the end of all of our talks, you saw our little like catchy jingle when we first came in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have both of us have like a going away slogan. Okay. So on these lives, we always put the live person on the hot seat. They don't get to come up with anything. They got to come up with it like in 3 seconds, but it's our sign off. So we're going to sign off with you and a sentence of inspiration, something that you think is important, just a going away something. All right.
So we'll start, and then it'll be your turn. We'll all just stare at you. And
right.
wait.
The whole world. Right. Folks, as always, thank you for joining us at Soaring Profits. Thank you, Kate, for coming. James, my special co-host, as always. And my little saying here is thank you, folks, and let's make some money together.
Pat, it's always a pleasure. You know what? You're bringing out the best in us. And Kate, I can't wait to see what you do. You're going to change people's lives. Let's heal our minds, bodies, and souls together.
My turn.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for having me on, and to everyone out there, do the hard things, because you can do it and you can accomplish absolutely anything. Just accept the fact that you can do hard things. They're good things, but they're hard.